Right, so we are going to be discussing tonight and learning this week the Shivananda Basic 12 Postures. So, this is an example of Hatha Yoga. We've been practicing Vinyasa Yoga, and Shivananda Basic 12 practice does include some sun salutations, but they're a little different. And then we move into postures that are done separately. So they're not linked together like we do with vinyasa, like we've been practicing. So with Shivananda Basic 12, it's one of my favorite types of yoga. Let's review the 5 points of yoga. So, in fact, I don't think we've been over this yet. So, this is a great opportunity to look at Shivananda. So, Shivananda was a doctor who decided that he was going to renounce um, the world. And he went into practice and became a Swami. So he was a medical doctor in India who became a Swami. And he had a disciple named Swami Vishnu Devananda. And he sent Swami Vishnu Devananda to the West to establish yoga practices in the West. And he established these ashrams throughout the Western world. There is one in Rome I've actually been to. I've taken a class in Italian in Shivananda. So there's one there. There's one in London. There's one in the Bahamas that I've been to quite a few times. There's one in New York in the Catskills and in California. So these ashrams are all over the world. And so anyway, let's talk about what Swami Vishnu Devananda did. He took the limbs of yoga, in essence, and the teachings of Swami Shivananda, and he condensed them into 5 points of yoga. The first one is proper diet, which we've already talked about a little bit. So, knowing that we want to have a Swatvik diet, one that's balanced and helps calm us down versus excite the mind or cause us to be lethargic. And we discussed this with the gunas last week. So, Swatvik, Rajasic, and Tamasic. The second of the 5 points is proper exercise, asana. So when we practice asana, we are practicing that second point of yoga. We can also practice other forms of exercise, but Swami Shivananda's practice is done in an order that is very cleansing for the mind and body, and it's related to the chakra system. So doing these postures in order, they believed that it was the best order for the mind and body to get the most benefit. It includes proper relaxation. In between each asana, the 12 asanas, you are going to take shavasana and relax, allowing the body to absorb the benefits of each posture, excuse me. The fourth is positive thinking and meditation. So positive thinking is always trying to look on the good side of things. So looking for the good rather than looking for the negative. I've been to the ashrams many times in the Bahamas, and one thing that I do notice about the people there is that positive thinking is important. Um, one day I was wanting to catch the ferry to go over into Nassau, and I made, I guess, what could be considered a negative comment about the times that it left. And the person I was speaking to who worked at the ashram turned it into a positive situation and changed the mind, helped me see it from a different point of view. And then, of course, meditation, practicing meditation during your Shivananda practice, and proper breathing. Shivananda yoga practice, the basic 12, includes Anuloma Viloma, which is alternate nostril breathing, and Kapalabhati breath. So those are generally the two types, and the practice begins with those breathing exercises. All right, my friends, so here we go. Anuloma Viloma, alternate nostril breathing with breath retention. Alternate nostril breathing is great to balance the left and right hemispheres of the brain. You always begin with the left nostril and end with the left nostril. It engages your parasympathetic nervous system and it improves focus. So, while it does calm you down, it's not the type of calming down that makes you want to sleep. It's more like you're clear and focused after you practice this exercise. And the second one is skull shining breath or Kapalabhati. This practice energizes your mind. It heats the core and the body. You can actually feel your abdominal muscles working and fatiguing during this practice. And it prepares you for asana. It can burn belly fat. Like I said, it can work the core muscles. However, this particular breathing exercise can be a trigger for people who have various, I don't want to call them disorders, but that's what they're normally known as, but conditions. Let's call them a condition. If you have anxiety, if you have depression, bipolar disorder, ADHD, migraines, heart disease. Therefore, in this particular class, I'm not teaching it because I want to make sure that you're okay, but I will talk about it. And you're welcome to practice it on your own if you would like. All right. So after we go through several rounds of sun salutations, and they're not sun salutation A's and sun salutation B's, they're similar, but they're also different. So dolphin pose, Chaturasvanasana, is similar to downward facing dog, except you're on your forearms. So your head does not touch the mat. So if you'll look here at this cartoon drawing, her head is not touching the mat. You use your forearms versus your hands, although your hands are flat. Some people like to join them together like this, and that's perfectly fine. It's a little more intense if you separate the hands. Just like with downward dog, your heels do not have to touch the floor. And you do this pose until you are strong enough to do headstand if you choose to do headstand. So we're building our core strength and we're also building our shoulder and arm strength, preparing us to be able to do headstand if and when we decide that's what we want to do. Shoulder stand, Sarvangasana, is the next pose. So the weight is on the back of the head and the shoulders. It's not on your neck. So what you want to do is pull your shoulder blades together and create a pocket in between your shoulder blades, press into the head and press into the upper back, the shoulder blades, and support your low back with your hands. I see too many people extending those arms out like with this one, and we'll talk about this picture in a minute. But you really need to support that low back with your hands. You do not have to be perfectly straight. Your lower body can be relaxed. If you feel any discomfort in your neck, come out and do supported shoulder stand. Salamba Sarvangasana, which is this cartoon drawing here. Placing a block or a bolster up under the sacral area of the low back will make it more comfortable. I would not recommend doing this just with your legs up unless you're resting your heels against a wall. But this is a great pose to practice in addition to shoulder stand if you cannot practice shoulder stand, and that's perfectly fine. Obviously, you don't want to get on your into shoulder stand if you have a problem with your neck. I would like to say it is an inversion. It stimulates your thyroid gland. If you have glaucoma, heart disease, do not do this pose. Next pose. Oops, I'm going too fast. It's plow pose. So you can go straight from shoulder stand into what is called halasana. Do not release your hands from your low back like this cartoon figure is doing unless these toes touch the floor. And then you can extend those arms out. Do not do this posture if it hurts your neck. And once again, the weight should be in the shoulders and the back of, and not the neck. This is a great hamstring stretch. I don't like this pose personally because sometimes my hamstrings are really tight. You can do this pose with these feet off of the mat. You don't have to touch your toes to the floor. You can do half halasana or ardha halasana, placing one foot down while the other leg's extended up and then switch. So there's some variations for this. All right, next, Matsyasana, one of my favorites, fish pose. You're going to use your forearms, plant your palms down. Let me move this up. Elbows under your shoulders. I misspelled shoulders, sorry. Press into your forearms as you arch your back and press your chest upward. So it's a nice back bend. You can drop your head back if it's comfortable. I don't like to do that. You can also use a yoga block in between these shoulder blades or a bolster and rest your head on a block. So you can put a block here and you can put a block here in between the, she's up a little high. She's kind of abnormal. Most people don't arch that high. She's a cartoon. So, but anyway, that block can go between the shoulder blades. It probably should be a little higher up. I was going to erase it, but you get the picture. Maybe the block would be more like here and not over her arms, but between the arms. All right. So Matsyasana, fish pose, lovely upper back stretch. All right, seated forward fold, Paschimottanasana. I love that word, Paschimottanasana. Personally, this cartoon drawing is a little weird. She should be gazing down. So this neck and head should be relaxed. You do not have to touch your feet. You can use a strap to wrap around the balls of the feet or the arches of the feet and pull. This helps stretch the calves and the hamstrings. It also tones the abdominals. Do not lock out your knees. Keep them soft. Use a strap or belt around your feet. Don't force yourself to touch your toes. Relax your head and neck, like I said. And you're going to lengthen through the spine as if you're being pulled in traction and stretched. Great, lovely stretch. You do not have to touch your torso to your legs. Don't force it or you're going to tear a muscle. Bhujangasana Cobra, which we've already done with Sun Salutation. All right, so palms are directly under the shoulders and your shoulder blades toward each other. So you're going to pull them towards each other. Notice here, bam, bam, straight down. Don't lock out your elbows. She's got hers locked out. So keep a soft bend in your elbow. Pull your shoulders away from your ears. So you shouldn't be all hunched up like this, okay? Avoid gazing upward. I see a lot of people wanting to look up as they go into Cobra. Don't do that. The tops of your feet rest on the floor unless your ankles are not flexible enough to do that. So if you run a lot or you play basketball or you may have some really tight ankles, so don't force it. And relax your glutes. Just relax and allow your body to reap the benefits. This is a lovely pose unless you have a herniated disc. And if you have a herniated disc, do not do back bends, forward folds. All right, locust. Locust is another back bend that's part of the Sivananda. It's going to strengthen the entire back body. Now, this little yogi's looking down. I like that. So from a prone position on your belly, and on an inhale, lift your head, torso, legs, and feet off the mat. Reach your arms back towards your feet as you lengthen your head toward the top of the mat. Gaze down at a 45-degree angle, just like this little cartoon figure is doing. And avoid looking skyward again. This pose strengthens the entire back body. You may know it as Superman. All right, my friends. Next one, Dhanurasana, bow pose. You start in prone position. You're going to bend the knees and reach back with your hands. Grab your ankles or the tops of the feet. Do not grab your toes because you can break them. On an inhale, lift the torso and head while simultaneously lifting the legs, pushing your feet or ankles into your hands, and you'll get a deeper back bend. Once again, gaze point is down. Don't look up. You're not going to get a deeper back bend by looking up. You're just going to crane your neck, okay? So wonderful, wonderful pose to do. If you can't grab your feet, grab one foot at a time and do half bow. Place your opposite forearm on the mat and reach back and pull yourself up. You don't have to lift like as high as this. So it's a great quad stretch if you don't go as deep as she's bending her back, okay? Next, half spinal twist, Ardha Matsyendrasana. Beautiful name. Your bottom leg can be straight or bent. Both sits bones connect to the floor. On an inhale, you're going to lengthen through the crown of the head. And on the exhale, twist to the opposite as you gaze behind you. Use your arms to help support and twist. Notice how that arm is. And it's a great organ massager. So you're going to squeeze off the blood flow as you twist, and then as you inhale out, excuse me, you're going to send that blood flying through those organs. Kakasana, crow pose, fun times here. So not everybody's going to be able to do Kakasana. She's actually more in crane pose here. I'm going to teach you how to do this. I would recommend placing a bolster or pillow underneath this face so that if you crash, you will not hurt yourself. So you're going to place your palms down in the front, come into a deep squat, lean forward as you work your upper arms to the inside of your legs. And then you're going to squeeze those legs. So she's resting her knees on her arms, but you're going to squeeze the arms to the legs. Lift the feet. That should say lift. And like I said, place a pillow under your face in case you crash. If you can't do Kakasana, it's okay. It's not a big deal, but it's there if you want to try it. Standing forward bend. From mountain, exhale into extended mountain. As you exhale, hinge from the hips. We've done this. Say you're familiar with it. Bend your knees as much as you need. Don't lock your knees. Allow your head and upper body to act as a weight, and use the yoga block to rest your hands on if you need to raise the floor to you. Great. Uttanasana. Okay, triangle pose, Trikonasana. So we've talked about triangle. Actually, the Sivananda triangle is different from this one, but you can just practice your regular triangle. In my video, I explain. It's a little long. Okay, so these are your Sivananda postures that you'll be learning. And like I said, this is Hatha Yoga. You break it down, do your sun salutations to warm up your body. Then you're going to do dolphin. Then you're going to do shoulder stand. Then you do headstand, and so on and so on and so on. So if you want, no, I'm sorry, you do dolphin or headstand. If you choose to try headstand, please do it against the wall. And make sure you're on the crown of your head, not on the forehead or the back of the head. I would not recommend doing headstand yet unless you know how to do it already. Do dolphin is perfectly fine to build that core strength. Have a wonderful practice.